Recording. Welcome on DataOps Poland. Naim, your turn. You are our star, so please share the screen. I'm stopping mine, and you can start. Let me find it. Stop sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see my screen.
Please see the screen. Great.
Yeah. So do you want to start with like a presentation? Maybe Nuri can start with this, or before the demo. I think it's better.
Yes, maybe to give a sense of context, if you like. Yeah, Philip, Thomas, can we start with this?
Yeah.
Like more
Yeah,
broad
Yes, definitely.
before we get into the product. So this presentation, we're going to explain exactly what it is that we do, our project with Selfr, and it's going to be probably less technical than what you guys are used to. For one very specific reason is that we, one of our mission is to make kind of data engineering disappear. Make it less preeminent, and the reason for this is because we've seen a lot of companies struggle with the current complexity and I would say fragmentation of the data landscape. So in essence, most of the organizations that we met, they want to build dashboards. They want BI. They want to be able to control their activities and understand how they are doing in different activities and different aspects of their business. And the problem is that because of the current state of things, like how many different data sources you have out there, how often the schemas are changing, and all this very difficult environment, we are forced to build entire data stacks when the end result that we want, that the companies want, most of the time it's simply metrics and charts and dashboards, BI dashboards. And so this is the core of our mission. Is actually it's two things. How can we make it more accessible for smaller structures, for organizations that don't have access to data engineers? They don't have entire data teams. They don't have big budgets for this. And then another aspect of what we're trying to do is to rethink and maybe this is like intellectually speaking, maybe it's the most interesting aspect. How can we reinvent the experience of working with data, even for data engineers who are like totally able to build their own data stack, to run it and maintaining, and how can we make it easier? And this is mostly about the UX and the integration of the different components. How can they work together? How can you present the different like parameters and controls and all of this in an interface that is more cohesive and looks less like high-level tinkering, where you stitch together multiple products from different vendors, which were never specifically designed to work together, and you have to do it anyways. So I don't know, Thomas, Philip, if you have questions or if what I said is clear.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Let's move forward.
Okay. And so yeah, maybe we should like get into the product and see how it works. So just to give you an overview.
Sorry, now Sławek told that the presentation is quite small, so I'm not sure if this is due to presentation mode or maybe.
Now should be better.
Yeah, now it is okay.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
So, as you're going to see in the demo, the purpose of Selfr is to take the data from the sources, then ingest the data, put it in a data warehouse, then deal with the transformation, like blending the data, doing joins, cleaning it, basically everything you need to do to get the right tables that the business needs. And then you can schedule the pipelines and write tests and that kind of things to make sure that everything works according to plan. And once you have the right tables and the data is reliable, you can build dashboards and metrics and share this within the company. So when we say it's end-to-end compared to the current data landscape, we really mean it. It's really from sources all the way down to BI, which means that normally you shouldn't need another product. You should not need another product on top of Selfr, unless you want to do more quote-unquote exotic use cases, like you want to do machine learning or you want to do more advanced stuff, But if you want business intelligence, we got you covered from the sources all the way down to the dashboards. And this is what Naim is going to show you in a moment in the demo.
So first of all, do you guys have some questions, or should I go with the demo now?
No, not from me. Looks quite promising. We have quite a good movement about the data platforms. So yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, great. So before starting the demo, I think something really important here is that I think that we're beginning to feel sometimes for companies where companies won't be looking for having, one tool for each task, but are looking for more, for less expensive tooling, because of everything that's happening now in the economic space. And so this is also one aspect of what we're doing. So to start with the demo now, so this is what Selfr looks like. And basically, you can have many organizations, and for each organization, you can have what we call spaces or deployments. And basically, a space or a deployment is a place where you're going to have all of your data in one place, right? Hence the name spaces. So let me show you this. And this is the homepage of Selfr, where you can see that indeed it's end-to-end. So basically, you can go from sources. So here, I'm going to show you that in a moment. But you can connect to more than 300 data sources. So it can be databases, it can be SaaS services like Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. And it also can be flat files or Google Sheets. And basically, under the hood, what we are using is a mix of Fivetran and Airbyte. I guess you guys people know about that. And the choice that we're making is based on which connector is the best for your use case. And also it is based on the expense of each tool. So you know that Fivetran is much more expensive than Airbyte. So we also take this into consideration to help you connect to your sources. Again, I'm going to show you that, but I just want you to have an overview of Selfr. Then once you have connected to your data sources, you're going to have all of your data in one place, which is a data warehouse. And again, what we're using under the hood here is Snowflake. So right now, we're really focusing on Snowflake and really leveraging all the features of Snowflake. We don't have in our short roadmap any plan to integrate for BigQuery for now. We don't know if we're going to do that one day, but for now, we are really happy with Snowflake. It scales very well. It has a lot of features, and on an expensive side, it's okay. It's a little bit more expensive than BigQuery, but it's good enough for us. But again, we're using Snowflake, but we're adding much more features on top of it. Once you have all of your data in one place, you can build what we call transforms. It's a little bit like dbt. So basically, you're going to be writing your SQL, and it's going to be only select SQL. You don't need to do create tables, insert tables. All of what we can call data engineering is going to be automated by Selfr. So you just need to write the business logic of what you want to do, how you want to clean your data, how you want to transform your data, how you want to calculate your metrics. And we're going to be building the pipelines for you and maintaining them also. So this basically is going to be building pipelines. And for you guys who knows about that, it's a little bit like dbt. It's much more efficient than dbt. So we're not using dbt here under the hood. So we were using a Fivetran and Airbyte. We're using Snowflake. But here it's our own system, which we believe is better than dbt for the use case that we're trying to target. But we can export everything that has been done in Selfr in a dbt compatible project, which means that if someone wants at some point to use dbt for some, as Noor said, exotic use cases, you can do that. Then once you have your pipelines, you can, of course, schedule them, right? Which means that you're going to be able to say exactly what you want to do. And so something really nice here that because we are end-to-end, and because we have all the metadata, so we know exactly how the data flows in our pipeline, our schedules really is going to handle everything. So when you're going to schedule a pipeline, it's going to really make sure that you're going to import the latest data from those sources, right? It's going to be doing all the pipelines in the transformation. It's going to apply other tests, recalculating all the metrics, make sure that everything is materialized if it needs to do that. So it's really end-to-end here. You don't have to, to work on the data source and then on the data pipeline on the other side. And so basically, when you have been doing this, you are getting fresh, reliable data for your business. And so here you have basically two options. You can use your own BI tool. So we have clients who are using Tableau mainly. So basically, you're going to be connecting to Selfr like you would connect to any database, or like you would connect to Snowflake. And you can just like build your dashboards. But and it's something really important. We also are making a dashboard available because you can still schedule a dashboard then. And I'm going to show you how you can also use AI on dashboards. And so to be frank with you, the dashboard part is really something we're working on it now, because as Noor said, I'm going to just re-show you that it's really the objective of any company, right? So basically, it's something really funny that we can see, and you all know that people, like business people, they really want this. It's simple, right? I just need the figures of the company. I just need to understand what's happening. And we all know that it takes a lot to have this working, to have this maintained, to handle everything, all the complexity. If something is broken, how are we going to deal with this, and so on and so forth. So we're now really putting a lot of effort in this part. And also the last part I'm going to show you is that we are AI powered. Basically, what we're doing is that we are putting AI to help you first create the pipelines. So I'm going to show you that. We are putting AI also to help the business user on the dashboard. So basically, if a business user wants to see a metric that has not been built by your data analyst, he's going to be able to ask in English or whatever language you want to use the question directly, and it's going to be giving him the right chart. So this is what we are putting right now, and what we have in our roadmap is that we're going to be putting AI for a lot of things. One of the main things is that it's going to be to help you in case of you have a pipeline that is broken, to understand exactly what happened, though the data structure has changed or anything else, and how you can deal with this. So now let me dig. I think it's very clear everything that we can do now in Selfr. And so I'm going to show you some part of it. So when I click on dashboards, I have a list of dashboards here. So we can have dashboards that are what we call published. So it's online. So basically it's just dashboards. So you know about that. And what's nice is that you're going to be able to edit the dashboard. So this is what you're going to be sharing to your company, to your business lines. But you can come here and exactly work on your dashboard. So we have many things here. I won't be digging too much into it because it's some stuff that you have been seeing in other places. But I'm going to show you the Selfr AI. And to do that, I'm going to go to another dashboard just to show you it. I'm going to remove this chart, really to show you that I need nothing to start. And let's say that you have a business user who's asking, he just wants to know the, he wants to see the sales by region. And something really great is that you just need to click on this. It's going to be asking this in any language. So as you might guess, we're using the latest trend of LLM. And as you know, ChatGPT or the LLM of Meta, they're using you can use them in any language. I'm just going to show you this in English. So let's say the business user say, okay, I want to see the total sales by region and colored by region. And so what's going to happen here is it's going to be looking at all the data I can access to. So it's going to be looking at the permissioning. So I'm a business user, and the data team has been providing me with some data. And so it's going to be looking at all the data I'm allowed to have access to. And it's going to be trying to find the right table, the right columns, to understand exactly what I want to see here, and to give me the result in the charts. So as you can see, it's providing me the right metric, which is total sales, right? So it understood it has to take the sales column and make the sum how can I say, the sum aggregator, and call that total sales broken by region and colored by region. So this is something really nice. I can just click on apply and add it to my dashboard. And it also has been choosing the right table. But also what's really nice is that everything that we are providing to you, unlike ChatGPT and others, you have the possibility to change it. We're not just providing you with like a result that you cannot change. You can just now augment it the way you want here. So let's say I want to see total sales and, for example, total profit. Yeah. So let's click on that. And now I can see total profit and total sales. Let's say I want to filter, I can filter it. I want to change the direction, I can do that. And when I'm happy, I can just click on apply. And everything that you're going to be doing, you can ask it by Selfr about with the AI, and it's going to be showing to you what you need. If you can add it to your dashboard if you want. So this is something really great. And now I'm going to show you that, as I said here earlier, what's really nice is that while the business user has been doing this, it has been handling everything underneath those dashboards. So it can be finding the right data source if it needs to do. And it can be sometimes just creating some part of the pipelines or doing some data transformations. So of course, we're still implementing these features. So I'm not saying it can do everything, but it can do a lot. And at least we're really focusing on the kind of question that business people can ask, right? So it can be, it can do aggregation, it can create metrics, and so on and so forth. So this is really the dashboard part. So if I get back to my, sorry, to the home page, it's really this part, right? The dashboards. Now let's have a look at everything before. So the sources, as I told you, you can come here and you can create any of the more than 300 data sources here. So as you can see, you have SaaS applications, you have AWS inventory. So I understood you like a Postgres. So you can connect to any Postgres connector. Again, here what we're doing is really using Fivetran and Airbyte. And it's great because we can also create our own connectors. So you know that Airbyte is open source and that you can be able to create your own connectors. And we also,
Naeem, I might add, we also have a partnership with a company called Portable, based in New York, and they're specialized in building very exotic connectors to rarely used applications. So this is also an option. We want connectivity to not be a problem at all.
Yeah. So once you have connected to your data, so you can go to Data Explorer. So basically, the Data Explorer, you can see all of your sources here. So basically, I can go to my HubSpot connector, and here I can see the data from HubSpot. So I can see the lineage, I can see the table. So I can see the data here. I can navigate that. I can try to find the right column, click on it, focus on it. So we really have made the navigation in tables very easy. I can create metrics, tests. So I won't dig too much into this, but you can see how it works. And of course,
May I have a question?
Sorry?
May I have a question?
Of course.
Yeah, so because you are right now you're presenting that some tables, but example, if I had the logs in data in JSON or any other format, there is easy option to use it as a source.
Absolutely. So basically, what's going to happen? So as you may know, Snowflake can handle JSONs, which means that when you're going to be importing the data, it's going to be importing in a column. You're going to have each cell as a JSON, and then you can write your transformation to export anything you want from your JSON. So yeah, we can handle JSON.
Okay, and it's like more batches. I mean, the source is sending the data, or your portal or product it's taking, I mean, reading it from something. Which way is the the right way. Of...
I'm not sure I understood the question, but I would say that it's the second option, which means that our software is going to be asking for the data. So basically, if your connector is connected on a Postgres SQL, right, database, it's going to be reading the tables and importing the data. And what's going to happen is that we're going to be looking only at the new rows or the updated rows. So basically, we're not importing all the data every time, but only the one who are new or who has changed.
Okay.
If I after that, if I find some example with JSON columns, I'm going to show you that. Now I don't know by heart where I have that. And of course, because you may have a lot of table here, because you're importing so many tables and data from all over the places. Of course, you have a search here. You're gonna be looking at all the table in all your data warehouse and just giving you where you can find what you're looking for. So this is something really interesting because our clients, they have like thousands of tables and they need that, right? And so basically, something really important is that in Selfr, not only you have the features, but you also have all the, let's say, the good practices of the data world or the data pipelines built in the tool, which means that this is your sources here. So you can see that I have some HubSpot, Google Sheet, so some sources, right? And then every time I'm going to be writing a transform, so I'm going to show you that. So basically, this is the data coming from the sources. And then what I can do is that I can be writing some transforms. So let's say here from the Google Sheet, I've been writing some tests. Here I've been writing some join between those two sources. And of course, what I'm showing you here is really the space and the deployment where you're playing with. I'm going to show you a real example just after. But basically this, for example, company Mars, it's in the transform part where I'm going to be just writing some simple SQL, right? So just the select SQL here. So as you can see, it's a very simple select. I'm going to show you a real example in a minute. But what's really important is that once you have been doing this, right, you can just click on save, and we're going to be building those pipelines for you. This is the first part. The second part is that we're going to be putting those tables in the transform folder. And in the transform folder, you have many, I would say, subfolder, which is bronze, silver, and gold. And what's really nice is that in bronze, you're going to be putting all the SQL, all the transforms that are just here to get your data prepared. It can be removing some columns, renaming some columns, obfuscating some data because there is some personal data and so on and so forth. But the key point here is that the data that you have here are not yet the data you want to provide to the business lines, right? Then you're going to be putting your data, your transform, your SQL in Silver. And in Silver, you're going to have all the data that is doing some business logic. It can be joining tables. It can be a cleaning data. It can be calculating some metrics, right? But those transforms are still intermediary. And so you're going to be putting in gold really the final tables that you want to provide and share to the business teams. And why it's great, so first, we did not invent that. Those are like the good practices of the data world. So we have just built them in our software. And so you might find that on the net, on DBT forums or other, some people are calling them bronze, silver, gold. Others are calling them staging, intermediary, and mart. Whatever the names, what's really nice is that the permissions here are automatic for you, which means that everything you're going to be putting on the gold folder is going to be made access to the business lines. But here, it's never made access to the business lines, which means that you can make sure that, okay, here I can still be putting some, security, obfuscation on columns, so on and so forth. And I'm sure that nobody's going to be looking at this. So the permissioning part is something really important in what we're doing. So let me show you, because I think it's important, some real pipelines. And I'm going to show you that with a client of ours who is still in the older version. So we're going to be rolling him in the new UI this month, but so for now he's in the older one. So as you can see, he has more than 100 sources, which is huge. So some of them are databases, you have Google Sheets, you have many things. For the context, Horace is a cosmetic vendor in France, one successful cosmetic vendor who is specializing on cosmetic for men. So just for your context, they're doing e-shopping and physical shopping. So they have a lot of data sources, and they're using Selfr to handle all the data. So all the business lines are using the data from Selfr. So it can be marketing, can be sales, it can be financials, top level management, and so on and so forth. So this is why they have more than 100 sources connected. And as you can see, they have been writing more than approximately 250 SQLs who are transforms. So which means you have some of them are really simple like this one, but I know that everything that is M2 is some pretty serious SQL. A lot of joins and stuff. And what's really important here is that because they have this big complexity, when we're going to go back and see how it's going to be looking at in pipelines. So this is what it looks like. So of course, we can't see too much. But if I zoom, you can see the pipelines that is from them. And we also have built a way for you to navigate the pipeline. So let's say I told you that in transformation, if you go to Mars, here you're going to really have the, how can I say, the table that are being given to the business lines. So let's have a look at this table here. When you click here, it's going to show you the lineage of this table. So even if you have a big lineage, because they have more than 250 transforms, and I think it's like more than 120 pipelines per se, you can really navigate in the pipelines and say, for example, I want to see only the pipeline of this table. I can click on it and just click here. I'm going to show you exactly everything that is needed for this pipeline only, right? So I can really be navigating the pipelines here. And why it's really important for two reasons. The first one is that in doing the pipeline in this way, you can see, for example, that you have this piece of SQL here that is in some way, I would say it's factorized, right? Which means that this piece of logic here, you're going to be writing it just once. And before that, and nearly all of our clients before that, they had many charts and they had the same piece of SQL in many charts because, it's not organized in pipelines. And so when they wanted to change the business logic of this piece of SQL, they had to think, okay, I need to change it here and here. It was really, you can't scale, you can't maintain that when you have like hundreds of pipelines, right? So this is something really important here. And besides, it's going to be doing all the tests for you. It's going to be show you when it's broken, where it's broken also. And you're going to be understanding exactly the data that you have. So that was only to show you like a real example here of, so you can see here when we showed you this, you can see that this table, sorry, it's here. This table here that is being used for dashboards, you need this amount of data sources. What you have here on the left are all data sources and some pretty important, how can I say, SQL to make sure that everything is clean and stuff. By the way, I can see I have something flattened bundle. I'm going to show, maybe I'm going to be looking at this because I think that if they are flattening something, maybe you have some JSON here. Maybe I can, yeah. So you can see what I told you earlier.
Right, parse JSON.
Yeah, you have so this is an example of how we can handle the JSON in Selfr, right? So you bring in the data, it's going to be JSONs, and then you can just flatten them and use them the way you want. So in the example I showed you just now, one part of what's been doing is really flatten the JSONs. And as I said, some pretty important SQL. So The other point here that is really important is that Horace, they have hired only 2 data analysts. And this is one key point of what we're doing, which is that you can be running a whole data stack without the need for data engineers and data ops, right? So as long as you're not doing data for Uber or or Facebook, we believe that a lot of companies can, for the business need that they have, they can be using Selfr instead of. And as I told you, what they have done then is that they have those schedules. So schedules are simply a part of your pipeline, right? That's gonna wake up every day at 7, and it's gonna be making everything, which is taking the data from your data sources. Here you can see that we have a test on this SQL. So not only we are compiling the SQL, but we are also looking at the data. So sometimes your SQL is working, but maybe your data is not correct, right? So you can be checking stuff like, do my figures are between 0 and 100, because you know that that should be the case. Is my ID column really have only unique values, and so on and so forth. So this a lot of tests you can be doing, and the tests are also written in a SQL, and it's going to be calculating everything up to your data. Another point which is important is that when you want to create a schedule, you just need to specify this table, the final table that you want. And if you have changed some of your business logic here in your lineage, every day at 7, it's going to be re-evaluating everything that needs to be done. And if your lineage has changed completely, it's going to update that. So you don't really need to build your schedule. We're going to be doing this for you. So for you guys who has been using schedulers like Airflow, you can see how different it is. We are like automating all of this. And yeah, so that was really to show you a real example with real, serious data pipelining, a lot of sources and transform. And if I get back to what we have, so this is only to be playing, that shows pretty much everything. Of course, there's much more, but nothing that you can't imagine. So for example, the settings here to make sure that you're providing the right, how can I say, the right permission to every people. So we have a unique system here, for example, which is a double permissioning part. The first one is the one you're going to be providing here, which is like, you can see that Noor, who's with us here, is a data operator. He's not a guest data operator. He's not a business user. So basically, a data operator is someone who has access to everything. But if I wanted to show him only part of this, I can put in guest data operator or business user. But the key point here is that here you're gonna be really thinking of this in a negative way, which means that it's really for the admin. If I put Noor in business user, which I can do because it's Noor, is here. But if I do that, I'm sure that he can never export data. So whatever the permissioning that other people are going to provide to him in a dashboard, right? Let's take this dashboard I showed you earlier, right? Even if I put Noor here as an admin, because on a upper level, he's just a business user, he cannot do some critical features like exporting data, looking at some critical data, and so on and so forth, right? So we're taking permissioning very seriously. But again, I think I showed you like exactly what we meant by, okay, this is what you want, and data viz now. I mean, data viz, the trend for data viz started in 2004, I guess. Now it's a commodity, but we still need all of this. And to build it, to build everything that you need to have the dashboard, and most importantly, to maintain that. So basically, when you have, as I showed you, 100 data sources, this data structure in the data sources are always changing. The APIs are changing. Sometimes the business needs are changing, so on and so forth. So to maintain all of this, it takes a lot of features, and we're putting everything in one place, and then we're putting the AI on top of it to make everything easier. For now, the AI is to help business users and data analysts, but later it's going to be really helping you much more than this. And just to finish, and I want to just repeat this this sentence again, the idea is for us to provide a way for companies to be able to run and operate complete data stacks with only data analysts. For those companies who don't need the specific skills of data engineers and data ops, or for the departments who don't need that because the IT department has too much to do with their current task. We believe that Selfr is going to be the solution. At least this is what we're building right now. If you have any question or anything, or any remark or feedback, we'll be happy to hear it.
Thanks, Ning.
Yep. So the first question, because you are showing your internal site. So what if we are using Alibaba or any other data center or cloud? Probably you have some endpoints in AWS and GPC, but how it looks if company is using only the one provider? Does it mean streaming the data through the internet, or you have endpoints in most of the cloud providers?
So you're speaking about them as data sources, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More about the connections between of them, because if you are a big company and your business is based on the cookies, you streaming the thousands of the gigabytes per day. It's mean a lot of cost. Of course, most of the providers do not charge you if you sending this data in cloud, but if you need to go outside, it will be expensive, right?
Yeah. So basically here we have two solutions. First, most people in the use cases that we're targeting, they don't need this level of granularity. They don't need all the events. So basically, we have one client that is doing some pre-aggregation in his cloud, right? And just sending the right amount of information. By the way, one feature that we're going to be rolling out next month is how you can optimize the data that you're bringing here. Because as you said, it can be pretty expensive, right? And so, for example, sometimes you have a data connector, so I can show you that. Here, for example, in HubSpot, for example, is pretty much expensive because of the way of how they do that. So you may have many tables here, right? And we have a tool that we're going to be putting in our next release, which is going to analyze like all the tables that you don't really use and the level of granularity that you don't need, right? To automatically help you just bring the data that you need at every stage, right? So if you really want it to have, as you said, the gigabytes of data, and it's really important for you, I think it's not the kind of use case we're targeting, right? That will be something like log monitoring, something really technical. So this, yeah, you would have no choice. You would need to really bring all the data in our platform. So it's going to be cloud to cloud. But again, I'm not sure it's the kind of granularity and use case that we are targeting with our product.
Sorry, pardon. It was a question.
No, not for me. Actually, this looks really, really promising. I think this kind of work is really required for a lot of companies that cannot just afford of having manual work or multiple engineers that are doing some magic. This can be done learn pretty quickly. We can connect multiple things, and something that is for me, one of the most important parts are dashboards and metrics, so we can monitor it in a single place. I think this could be actually employed to data meshes on the data product side. So really interesting. I think I will definitely track this solution, because even though it is rather the enterprise grade, and I cannot just simply use it in my research, but maybe at some point I would be quite happy to work with it. So yeah, a really good presentation. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, we already had the discussion with Philip in the middle of your presentation, and we both agree that this is the way how the data will be presented in the next 5 or 10 years, I would say, because right now it's like a little bit like Wild West, I would say. Everyone is doing something, and a lot of silver tape. Let's do something here. Let's do something there. Let's do some aggregation and all the stuff. But yeah, I would say the market is going to be like your product, I would say, and I see a lot of advantages. I would say, like we don't need the extra stuff to manage all the parts. I would say all the puzzles in the big picture, and it's pretty easy. At the end, we get what we need, like stats, graphs, metrics. It looks really promising, and I will keep my fingers crossed that the project will be most popular.
Just to give you also a sense of direction, we would like to automate as many things as possible. And so one thing we'd like to implement in the following month is that whenever you connect to different sources, you already have transforms, like entire pipelines and dashboards that are proposed to you, ready to use. And if you accept them, you discover after the fact that you can come back to every transformation individually and modify it, kind of like to make an analogy with the design world, it's like having a vector image of your pipeline that is editable, And the idea here is to bridge the gap between products which are incredibly convenient and easy to use, that give you metrics, for instance, for financial metrics or marketing, or you just connect to the sources and there you go, you have your dashboards. But they're very rigid, because then you only have a finite set of dashboards and you cannot really do a customization or modification or anything. And for us, these two aspects are really like two pillars. It has to be as ready and immediate as possible, and at the same time offer a lot of customization. Because what we've seen in data is that you always start with the basics. You want the simple stuff. I mean, everyone, for instance, if you talk about finance in SaaS applications, SaaS startups, for instance, everyone wants the same SaaS metrics. Everyone wants the MRR, the churn, that kind of things, right? And then, but afterwards, quickly you end up having to want to calculate like specific indicators, specific things which are not ready to use out of the box. It's something you have to build and tinker by yourself. And so the way we can articulate these two aspects, ready to use and yet offer a lot of customization, it is fundamental for us. And this is also an area in which the AI is going to help, even though it's not going to be entirely AI driven, but like it can help a lot.
I think I would have 2 more questions, if there is no one else. So first of all, maybe more technical. So we are having a building blocks, and we actually don't care about the operationalization of all of this. So I assume that between each component there is a messaging queue that queues that integrates these components. Or is there some other technical part of it?
Actually, it's even better than this. Actually, here is exactly like everything that's going to be centralized and it's going to be operationalized, right? But here you can always be playing, doing whatever you want, right? So I just won't go to my to one of the clients. So basically here, everything you're going to be doing here, and basically can be building some small pipelines and so on and so forth, right? It's going to exist only in this place, right? This is why we have got that governance and delivery. So basically, if you wanted just to play, to explore, or to provide a place for your business users to just explore the data and don't pollute what you have been centralizing here, it's going to be done here. And what we're doing now is that we're adding a button where you can, if a business user is building something interesting, right? So for example, here you can see I have a small pipeline that a business user has been building, right? So again, it exists only in this dashboard. It is not centralized. If you think that it's something interesting that you want to operationalize, we are adding a button that's going to be making this automatically for you, which is going to be taking this and putting it in this pipeline here. That is exactly your, this is really your single source of truth.
Okay, and each of these lines, this is like taking the file and sending through some transformer, right?
Yeah.
And between how they are, I'm not sure if maybe it's too technical to share, but I'm thinking on how is this line represented by? Is this like some kind of API calls, or this sending to message queue, or how is the integration working between these models?
So basically, the one that are on the left, it's really a queuing. So basically, it's data jobs, right, on the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's really a job to say, okay, I need to connect to HubSpot. I'm asking this. Once the job is executing, I'm going to have it and so on. But once the data is in our platform, this is really a simple scheduler. Simple, you see what I mean? Considering the question, it's just a simple scheduler where you're going to be doing this on Snowflake. Once it's finished, it's going to be this. So there's no queuing here. It's just everything what we're doing, and we're using an internal scheduler. So yeah, if you want, it can be queuing, but it's not what you will mean by message queuing. So it's all internal, and yeah, we're just doing this, the one after the other. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing technical here. I mean, nothing special or magical here.
Yeah, okay. So maybe I missed this, but is this solution only on, in case of the data storage, is it on Snowflake native, or this can have different underlying databases?
No, so as I said earlier, we are focusing on Snowflake because we don't feel the need to use that on BigQuery. And what we're trying to do is more leveraging all the features of Snowflake. So Snowflake has really great features like RLS.
Yes.
It's super important for permissioning. Also, it has super important things for features to be compliant. So basically, sorry, I forgot the name, but it's you can go back in history, which is super important, for some what's called the right to be forgotten. In Europe, it's super important. So we're really more super leveraging this on Snowflake. And we don't feel the need now for BigQuery. The only advantage of BigQuery will be that in some cases it's a little bit less expensive when you start. But yeah, for now it's just Snowflake. What I can say is that we can manage Snowflake for you, which means that you really need nothing. You just open a Selfr account, and we're gonna be managing Snowflake for you. Or you can create your own Snowflake, and we're going to be connecting to your Snowflake. So some clients prefer that for, I guess, more accessibility reason than security reason.
Yeah, I think this is a really good movement. Snowflake is really exceeded any expectations that were like 10 years ago. So yeah, it's a lot of happening in this field. Okay, and last question, maybe slightly more philosophical, but what do you think is going to be happening for the data engineers? So the people that are actually working on the code, doing this messaging queuings and all of the data engineering transformations, do you think they will go a bit deeper into the program, into the development to build such platforms and develop them, or they are going to be much more maybe business aligned, so they don't need to touch the code as much, and they can just work on this platform to develop the pipelines by clicking and doing some queries on dbt and related stuff.
Yeah, so both of them. So of course we are needing data engineers to do that. So yeah, basically what we're targeting, the use cases we're targeting is really, you know, the Pareto law use cases, you know. But you will still have maybe, I don't know, worldwide, I mean, thousands of companies who really need, like, you know, super specific use cases where they are really using, you know, for specific reasons, they are using BigQuery, Snowflake, and they're using Kafka for some real-time stuff, you know. They need to operationalize some real-time suggestion on the website, this kind of stuff. This is absolutely not what we're doing, right? And for this, those people are gonna be needed for that. And so I would say that, to answer you in a philosophical manner, it's really to free those people to really work on what they are good at, rather than stuff that can be really automatized.
Yeah, one way to put it also is because of the economic downturn, and who knows what the future holds. But I think data team in general and data engineers in particular, they're going to be under a lot of pressure to justify the ROI. And we've already seen a lot of studies that were questioning the ROI of data teams, because, you know, I mean, you can do like technical tasks and do things, but what's in it for the business all in all after all this, you know? And so I think, like Naeem said, they're going to be allocated to more like business useful tasks, and tasks that are not like that cannot be standardized. Otherwise, there's going to be competition between everything that can be automated and done by typically products like ours, and stuff that needs to be done by an expert. And there will always be a need for experts. It's just that it has to be in the right place.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I guess we are 2 minutes after time. So Tomasz, I guess you will have much more questions, but yeah, do we have any last ones maybe?
Nope. So thank you, guys. Of course, this recording will be available on our YouTube channel. Thanks for Philip. I think in the next week